Hey, Slash, I do my gurus. How the heck are you? I'm going to be telling the beer and whiskey whisper for the purposes of this video. Let me get things organized here. Bear with me. Get things straightened up. I almost had my prep done and I realized it was time to start. So, anyways, but I digress, man. Anyway, hang in there. Let me get this fixed real fast, and then you will have my undivided attention. So, St. Patrick's Day was a big thing for us. Both my wife and I had or have um, Irish ancestry, so it was always a big thing for our families. That's not wanting to do it. Anyways, St. Patrick's Day was always a big day for our families, so we kind of made it a thing when the kids were little. We'd have, the leprechaun would visit, and he'd leave a couple of taters, make a slight mess, leave some chocolate coins, and then usually one toy for each kid. And then it kind of, as the kids got older, it kind of evolved into other things. My daughter liked making the goodies with my wife, and then Seamus, our son, as he got older, loved making the food menus with me. He also did some of the baking with my wife too, as my daughter got older and moved on to other things. But he loved making the menus. Sometimes we spent, I don't know how long. I would say weeks, but I think sometimes it was months. Right, figuring things out and what we wanted to do and how we wanted the menus to go. So we usually did, we did something traditional, but then we, as the years went on, we would kind of expound on it, right? We might add something here or there, take away something, take the classic and do this to it. And we try to stay within the realm of tradition. Don't get me wrong, but that was kind of the idea, to do things a little bit different. Oops, trying to get to, there we go. Um, so anyway, I was rather overwhelmed when I saw that my bosses did this, and I want to read it for you word for word so I don't mess it up. So for the past couple of years, I've been working as a bartender, and recently kind of morphed into some outside sales, because I've done outside sales for a brewery before, back 2016, 2018 for a Saddleback Brewing. But anyway, a couple years ago, a young brewery, a new brewery, Banter Brewing, decided to take a chance on an old man and make a bartender out of him. And so about 2 years ago, and then about a year ago, they decided to get into doing some cocktails, and they kind of turned me loose to doing that. So I came up with this cocktail for last St. Patrick's Day called "Meant to Be Lucky," and one of the owner's wives named that, by the way. I am not that clever. Anyway, it used Ire Gold Irish whiskey, Irish cream, mint simple syrup, and mint bitters. And this year they decided to do it in the memory of our son Seamus. And they had asked me which charity uh, which charity had helped us the most, and I mentioned Pedal the Cause out of St. Louis. We met a lot of friends through there. They did a lot of good for Seamus, really helped us out a lot as a family. And so we'll be sending $3 from each sale of this cocktail to Pedal the Cause in memory of Seamus. So, I mean, I was rather overwhelmed, to be honest with you. And when I showed this, I tried to read it to my wife, but I couldn't. So I just showed it to her, and I've let my friends from Pedal the Cause know that this is what they were doing. And I got to be honest. I mean, I'm an old guy. I mean, I'm I tell every time, I'm an old guy. I'll be 60 this year, and I've worked for a lot of people. I've done a lot of things. I spent the greater portion of my work life in retail management. I've done some other things as well, as many know, but it turns out that the work love of my life is being a bartender, and I just feel so blessed to have landed. And I feel like it was just a kind of one of those happy accidents. I mean, I'm not even sure how I got the job, to be honest with you, because I had no bartending experience at all when I applied. But they hired a crazy old man, and I'm so grateful they did. Um, and I'm just so grateful to work for folks like this. So, anyways, I want to thank everybody at Banter. It's not just the folks that own the place and their spouses that have been very very helpful and accepting. It's the folks that come in there every day. I mean, I mean, I have friends there. You know, they're not just folks that come in. They're not just customers. I'm a bartender. A lot of these folks have become my very good friends that I hang out with on my days off, or even wish to. Right? I mean, they're just people that you just want to be around. So I'm just grateful that I get to hang out with my friends almost every day, even though I'm at work and I'm giving them good beer and whiskey and stuff. But I get to hang out with my best friends all every day. So I'm very grateful for that. So anyway, let's get it. I feel like I need to be drinking something after going through all that mushy stuff. All that mushy stuff. Anyway, anybody watching, if you have any questions or comments, just put it up there. If you'd like to be part of the video, let me know and I will send you the link. So anyway, I did pour myself just small pours now. Just small pours now. I poured myself 1 ounce neat to start with of Quiet Man single malt Irish whiskey. It's an 80 proof Irish, an 8-year-old single malt, as I mentioned. It's a very nice, surprisingly complex single malt for only an 8-year. But I think sometimes us whiskey guys get caught up too much on age and price, right? Because you tend to think, well, if it's older and more expensive, it's better. But that really isn't always the case, especially if you get to know your whiskeys and not buy into the hype. Because the hype will tell you spend more money, you get a better whiskey. But that's really not the reality if you're paying attention. This is a very nice whiskey. It really is. So I was looking up some stuff earlier. Quiet Man whiskey. This stuff is just amazing. You'll get notes of uh, lost my I did some research earlier, but I lost it. Some things happen, man. Um, so yeah, for me, for this particular whiskey, pull out a honey sweetness early on. You might get some heather-like notes as well. Typically, that's what Irish will provide to you. It tends to be known, especially among Scotch drinkers, as a smooth, sweeter one. This one really offers up a lot of vanilla as well. Gosh, that's nice. I'm personally, just getting some light peppery notes in the finish, but you might also pick up some notes of allspice, some cinnamon, some ginger. You might even find some clove. But really, it's up to you and your relationship with spice. The heather notes, you might feel them as, again, depending on your experiences. I tell people, you're never wrong, and you're not going to taste what you don't know. That's why I tend to pick up less fruit notes than a lot of folks, but I tend to pick up more spice notes. But the heathers are very interesting because some see it as medicinal, some will get some more herbal characteristics. It really depends on you and your taste buds. You might some feel as chamomile, some lavender, or a mix of. I kind of feel it's kind of an earthy note, if you want to know the truth. Anyways, it's very nice. I like it a lot. It's a nice, it's a nicely done, easy drinking single malt. Not as complex as many, I will admit, but as an 8-year old, it is more complex than some 10 or 12-year-olds that I've had. If you want to know the truth, and that's why whiskey guys again tend to get caught up in hype a lot. If it's aged longer, if it costs more, it naturally has to be better. If it's allocated, it naturally has to be better. And none of that is true. Allocation just means it's been marketed well. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a better whiskey at all. Uh, uh, Age, price, again, we go back to marketing. Sometimes age does make a difference. It does. However is, it really depends on the whiskey. I've had some younger whiskeys much better than some older. And again, a lot of whiskeys, and not just Irish or Scotch, bourbons even, sometimes they thrive on reputation. They've gotten by on a name so long that the quality of the whiskey has waned, but people don't care because they believe what they've been told all their lives. And what I mean by that is, without mentioning any brand names, um, folks that drank a certain whiskey, folks that were of a certain age or are of a certain age that drank a certain whiskey in, say, the 70s, passed that knowledge on, and now you have younger generations drinking that same whiskey, and it is no longer the same whiskey, right? So the folks drinking it in the 70s, it was a 90 proof whiskey. Folks drinking it now, it's an 80 proof whiskey, but that price disparage is still the same. But they will still buy that whiskey even though it's no longer the same whiskey, just because that's the whiskey they've been told to drink. They've been sold a bill of goods, and they're going to keep drinking that. And that's the problem with a lot of whiskey drinkers. They look for names rather than quality. Rather than search for what actually is better, they buy into the hype that this is the name they know, so that's what they're going to buy. Which is why I tend to go way out of my way to not do that, right? I'm always looking for those small distillers, whether I'm a local-ish or if I'm on vacation somewhere else. I'm not looking for other big guys. I'm looking for smaller whiskey. That's why I get asked every once in a while, well, Tom, what's your go-to? I don't have one. I don't have a go-to. I'm not looking to go to any name brand whiskey. I don't have that one brand that others do, because that's not how I like to drink. I want to buy the best small distillery whiskey possible. So my favorites kind of change depending on what I have around me right now. Uh, I bought a lot of stuff while we were in Columbus, Ohio last year. So Watershed Distillery, I really like a lot. Echo, Endeavor, again out of Columbus, Hard Truth out of Indiana. There's some great small distilleries making amazing products. Neely Family Distillery out of Sparta, Kentucky. Oh my God, these guys are amazing. So when anybody asks me what my go-to is, I say I don't have one. When I visit somewhere, I buy as much as I can, and I try to make that last till I can go somewhere again. I'm not looking to buy all those names. I don't want to have a name brand go-to. It's like looking at the name, for me anyway. The concept is like looking at the name brand beers. It's like looking at Bud, Miller, Coors, whatever, and saying, well, what's your go-to, Tom? Well, none of those are my go-to. My go-to is what is local to me. But for some, and what's really frustrating to me is beer geeks get that. They understand that concept. But those same guys that buy whiskey don't tend to believe the same way, right? Well, so what's your go-to beer? They'll name a local brewery, but you say what's your go-to whiskey, and they will name a name brand whiskey, and you can't make them think differently. For me, it's all about small. Whether I'm drinking beer, whiskey, wine, or whatever, it's always about supporting whatever is local to whatever region I'm in. So do I have a go-to anything? No, I don't want to have a go-to anything. I go out of my way to make damn sure I don't have a go-to, because my go-to needs to be whatever is whatever. Again, I'm going to mention those distilleries out of Columbus, Ohio. I picked up back at the end of September of last year, because I still have some of this stuff here. Looking at my bar cart, I've got a little bit of Watershed left. Some Watershed. Finished my Echo. Unfortunately, not my Echo, but my Endeavor. Finished the Endeavor off, unfortunately, but that was really good. The Echo. Again, Hard Truth out of Indiana. So many. Huling Station out of Memphis. There's great products out there, man. Don't be bound by what you think you need to have. Forget what so-called whiskey geeks tell you what you need to have. Forget that completely. Look for those small distillery products and buy them. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the matter. Anyway, if anybody gives a rat's, no, we really don't, Tom. So I poured another ounce of the other whiskey, other Irish whiskey that I have. It's one I tried for the first time today. It is a Lost Irish. What's interesting, it's a blend at 80 proof. What's interesting about this is they call it Six Worlds, finished in casks from 6 continents. So it uses South African brandy cask, Japanese Mizunara cask, or oak, it says, sherry cask, U.S. bourbon cask, Caribbean rum, Australian tawny cask, and Colombian rum. And it also uses blends. I wish they gave me the percentage of the blends, but they don't. I wish they did, but they don't. Of grain for sweetness, malt for fruitiness, and pot still for creaminess and spice. And it really is. I mean, well, to be honest, it is probably the most expensive blend I've ever bought at 37. But the other side of that is it really is the best blended Irish I've ever had. It is rather amazing. Pot still for creaminess and spice, and that's what's amazing about this one. Yes, it is probably the creamiest blend you're ever going to have, and it stays sweet until you get to that finish. You go, oh, there it is. You get the spice notes that kind of catch you by surprise that you just don't see coming. You'll get that fruitiness in the middle, the sweetness up top, as you would expect from an Irish. And it is just amazing, man. This one just, wow, this one just does something for me. I got to tell you. it was about 37 a bottle, which I felt was a little pricey for an 80 proof blend. And so I picked it up, I put it down, I picked it up, I put it down. And I decided, okay, I'm not gonna pick up anything. I'm gonna walk around, look at the other stuff, look at the beer, look at some, and then make my way back around, and then make a decision. And I do the same thing. I picked it up, I put it down. I picked it up, I put it down. But again, the idea, I just the idea was to buy something I never had before. So I decided to go ahead and pick it up anyway. And boy, I'm glad I did. It is rather amazing. I got to tell you, this stuff is killer. Anyways, anyways, I digress. Let me finish this off. And I'll wrap up this video. Again, I just kind of wanted to say how grateful I was to everybody. Um, I've been rather lucky, we all have our hardships, and things don't always work out the way you like them to. But sometimes, good or bad, you get steered in the direction that you need to be in. And I feel like that's what has happened to me over the years. I work for a company that sent me to Las Cruces, New Mexico, and then El Paso, Texas, and then Trinidad, Colorado. So I will say, not all of those things were great to me, but it was all part of leading you towards a specific place. Um, we probably had our son Seamus because we got sent to Las Cruces, New Mexico. He was born in El Paso, Texas, and then circumstances led us back this way. And then 2 years ago, perchance, I ended up as a bartender for a small craft brewery here in town, and it has just been the most amazing experience of my life. I work for the best people I've ever worked for, and I get to hang out with many of my good friends on a daily basis. And man, it's just been an amazing experience for a crazy old man like myself. Because I'm kind of an acquired taste, and and they let me be me out there. I'm encouraged to be well, maybe I won't go that far, uh, but the folks out there know I am, I'm an outspoken, crazy old man, and they all seem to like that about me. So I'm grateful to be where I am. I haven't worked a St. Patrick's Day in quite a while, but I am looking forward to this one. That my wife's going to do some things on the sweet side. I'm gonna probably do a couple savory items just for fun, kind of a potluck kind of thing. And my bosses are generously going to donate money out of a cocktail sold to Pedal the Cause. Pedal the Cause is an incredible organization. Every penny you donate goes to cancer research. It's not like other places where only, you know, pennies on the dollar go to actually where it needs to be. They did every bit of your money goes to cancer research. And without delving into politics in this particular video, um, it's very important right now that we donate to causes that are looking into cancer research, because apparently our government isn't going to help us out anymore. So, anyways, Slancha, And Pelicans is an amazing organization. We've met some great friends who really helped us out a lot through that time, and they did more than they had to. I mean, they were a terrible organization, and they came and talked to us, and and helped us in a lot of ways. But a lot of these folks became good friends of ours and helped us in ways that they just didn't need to. Uh, but I'm very grateful that they did. So, anyways, I have a little bit left of the American Stout from Banter Brewing. Make some room here. And I've got some Bushmills Black poured. I'm going to add just a touch of some Irish cream to it and finish this off with a car bomb. Because you got to do that last, man, because it just gunks up the glass. It's just a messy drink. I'm not even sure who invented it. Because to be honest with you, I'd rather just do a Boilermaker, drop the glass of whiskey in the stout and drink it. But somebody decided you had to put Irish cream in it to really gunk the shit up. I don't know. I don't know who thought that was going to make things better. But nevertheless, maybe that's what makes it a bomb. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to pour this and drop it fast before it all curdles. And quite frankly, it's almost impossible to do that. But nevertheless, we're going to give it a whirl. I think we got damn near there. So anyway, I am Tom the Beer Whisker. Excuse me. I'm Tom the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor, wisdom man. I'm also Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor, wisdom, all around good guy. Sláinte.